Hello everyone and welcome to another installment of Slammin Synapses. If you're viewing me through YouTube, you see a subscribe button up here. Click on that. Keep up to date with us here. You see a comment box on the bottom. Feel free to drop one in there. If you're viewing me through phone or elsewhere, you know how to take advantage of those, hopefully. This segment can be submitted for possible inclusion to the PW Insider family of websites. It's pwinsider.com, pwinsiderelite.com, and pwinsiderextranoe.com. Like I said before, the Elite site is a great paid site to go to. Lots of great audio, lots of great video. On the site this week is a interview with Homicide. Check it out. They also have a non-wrestling site called pwipop.com that deals with pop culture, like comic books, sports, things of that nature. Not tend to be run separately. Doesn't seem to collide with the other ones, but still worth checking out. This segment is going to be about what I think is the best Invasion storyline, though your viewpoint of Invasion could be different, but basically stage world-class championship wrestling. Eric Embry versus Skander Akbar for control of the company. Now, the story here is that Eric Embry had a group that was going to take over world-class. Skander Akbar wanted to retain control of it. And the beauty with this is that even though it was a Devastation Incorporated thing, he would still try to get other people on board. Doesn't mean, unlike NWO, you can't really have a show full of NWO because you need something to mix in there to make it work. So Eric Embry represented a group of people that wanted to take over and make it USWA. Now the beauty of this is that it was a long build. It wasn't something that was done in a month and just call it a day. There was things that built up. I mean, each week felt that there was a little bit more despair. You didn't think anything was going to happen. You didn't think that Eric Embry had a chance. Because every week just seemed to get darker and darker and darker. But anyhow, there was a steel cage match that took place between Eric Embry and P.Y. Chuhai, Phil Hickerson, for those of you who don't know, who was led by Skander Akbar. Premise is whoever won this match would take control of the company. So it pretty much took the whole show, and in the end, Eric Embry wound up winning over P.Y. Chuhai, and therefore USWA took over. Now, World Class was definitely a good federation to have, but it needed change and needed a new direction, so I think they did that way, is to allow it to grow that way. Now, afterwards, there was still Devastation Incorporated, this Eric Embry. Eric Embry turned heel a bit later, but it was still continuing with storylines, with feuds, things of that nature. It didn't just end, it didn't just blow over, there was a new change, and it felt that way. It really had a different feel to it. But like I said, it built up for quite a long time for that. Now it's like, we'll do something tweak, get it this way, and we're going to finish it, and we're ready about it. And just not anything.
The problem with wrestling nowadays is why should you invest your time with stuff? When was the last time WWE gave you something to invest in? Granted, you had the CM Punk situation, but they kind of discarded that just as quick. TNA, when was the last time they gave you something to invest in with the Robert Roode situation, but the way they did it, the many backhands that they did, why should you invest if that was what would happen? Excuse me. But yeah, this was a very long build. If you look at most of your top shows on TV, NCIS, Law and Order, things of that nature, little things here and there. So then we get to the point to where it's a payoff. It's like, oh, now I see what that was about. Now I see what those little intricacies were. That's why people watch them, because they like the show, because they invest their time in it, because they know they're going to be entertained. So, hey, look at the puppy. Might have to edit a little bit here. But yeah, why should you invest your time if they're not going to let you do that? That's where the shows have great writers to make you invested in it, to make you say, "Hey, I gotta watch this next week," and you love watching it because it's a good show. Voice is acting up with me, so hopefully I can stay somewhat audible here.
But yeah, it's like shows nowadays like those give you something to watch. Wrestling, on the other hand, hasn't. I mean, nowadays it's just like, okay, we got to get from one pay-per-view to the next. Sometimes we have a 2-week build, sometimes we have 3, sometimes we have 4. But it's like, okay, we got to find things to catch to the next pay-per-view, and just amazing. It's the wonders of doing live video logging, because you have so much stuff going on in the background that sometimes you just have to make do. But yeah, that was the beauty of it. There was a slow build to it with a wonderful little payoff. When the show ended, I mean, granted, you had commentators making their feelings known, but they let stuff soak in. Nowadays, they don't let stuff soak in. It's just like, okay, we got to blah 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 blah, oblivious to what's going on in the ring. So it's just amazing. Trying to think if there's anything else I could add to this. If I do, well, at a later time, another segment. Next topic: Muppets. I like Muppets. I like Kermit. I like Miss Piggy. I like Animal. I like Beaker. Don't think I like them on my wrestling program though, because there are some segments in which it was more of a distraction than anything. And the stuff that wasn't Muppet related was just so. Back in the day, you have Air Boom against Cody Rhodes and Wade Barrett. Now, as it stands, you can only assume that Cody and Wade would be the next in line for a tag team title shot, but if that happens, I'll be surprised. Big Show defeats Alberto Del Rio. Now you would think that would be the next thing, but of course you have Alberto versus CM Punk, and I don't think they're going to do a 3-way between Punk, Alberto, and Big Show. Somehow they have Show going against Henry, and while their feud's not over yet, it's like, why would you have Big Show go over on Alberto if there doesn't really seem to be any direction there anyway? Eve's the number 1 contender again for the women's title. Hazards of live video logging. But yeah, Eve is the number 1 contender to the women's title again, and I'm wondering why. I mean, you look at all these women that they finally started giving air to again, but it's the Eve Beth Phoenix show again. Why do you have all these people on your payroll if you don't use them? And if you do use them, they're briefly. I mean, it's like, some people I think are just there. And it's just surprising that they let so much good talent go, but they keep all these people on and then don't use them. Like, when was the last time you saw Yoshitatsu on TV? I mean, I've discussed this before. When was the last time you've seen most of these people on TV? Try a very, very long time. I mean, I know some of them may be on NXT, but if no, like I said, if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, doesn't make a sound. If no one watches NXT, does it really happen? It's just one of them things. But yeah, this last Raw, some parts were okay. I am surprised that it took them an hour and 45 minutes to go into the whole Hunter situation. Consider the fact that's what pretty much ended the show, or was one of the things that ended the show before last week. I don't know.
I just don't know.
Trying to think. Is there anything else? No, beauty of these things is I could always do another segment at another time for it. Instead of looking like this for most of the thing, going, wow, what am I going to talk about now? And I'd rather give you something to listen to and something to be entertained by than just some guy sitting here with his hands that he has going, da, 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 da. So I think we're just going to wrap this puppy up today. If you want to drop me a comment, feel free to do so. You see your graphic on the screen. I'll just tell you how. If you like my segments, let me know how you feel. Also tell me how you're viewing me, how you came across me. If you came across me through my Facebook page, if you came across me through YouTube, if you just came across me by other means, feel free. Right now I'm just going to wrap this segment up because right now my brain is like trying to think of other things I could discuss. And at the same time, I don't think I've covered my current segment enough. So it's that fine line, that fine balance. Just makes this whole thing interesting and very much fun. Especially when we have visitors. And I think I have their permission so I don't have to block things out here. But I do apologize if that's a distraction to you. So I think I'm just going to wrap this puppy up because right now my brain's like... For Albert Guerrero, this is Slammin Synapses saying see you next week. So long from ringside. Have a nice day, everyone. Talk to you later. Goodbye, everybody.